Hi, I'm John Wright, and I want to introduce you to Ed Bain's track-specific Trainer-Jockey Exacta Report. Uh, do want to tell you first of all about Ed Bain. He's famous for his 4+30 play. That's where he would bet uh, horses with a minimum of 4 wins. Uh, Say he'd bet the horses based on a trainer's record of having at least 4 wins and a 30% hit rate to make his bets under uh, various classifications off of layoffs, first after layoff, second after layoff, third and fourth. The same thing for debut races. Uh, the horse's debut race, his second lifetime race, third lifetime race, and off of claims. First after claim, second after claim, third after claim. And Ed would divide these by routes and sprints, and he'd look for the trainer who could win under these circumstances, proving it by the minimum of 4 wins and the minimum of a 30% hit rate. Uh, Ed's After doing this for many years, Ed realized that he was often going to look at trainers with specific jockeys. He'd make decisions based on whether or not today was a likely win, because not only was the trainer good at the particular layoff claim or debut situation, but also he had a go-to jockey on the horse, one that he was routinely successful with. And he also realized that this could be used uh, in playing the exotics, exactas, that sort of thing. He wanted to know the success rate that he would find a trainer had with a jockey both in the win slot and in the second place slot. And first of all, I'll tell you how you can get these. You go to edbain.com and click on the Trainer-Jockey Exacta Report, and that will take you to where you can get the menu of reports for each of the tracks. Lots of tracks. We have reports for most of the tracks in the country. Uh, you can click, download. When you click on that, you can get a sample of what's contained. Most of these reports, they're all broken out by uh, not only routes and sprints, but they're broken out by surface as well. So the sample page for Belmont uh, shows uh, several of Linda Rice's uh, uh, performances with individual jockeys in dirt routes. Her most successful combination is with Kendrick Carmouche, where she has 8 starts, 4 wins, 2 second places, and has hit at 50% in wins, and her win place uh, combination with Carmouche is 75%. I want to show you a sampling of the kind of data that are in these reports and how to use them. First of all, I want to take you to uh, Tom Amos at Churchill Downs in dirt sprints. As I record this, Churchill Downs has just opened, so I want to show you some of the trainers at Churchill Downs and what their performances are with the jockeys. These are all contained in the Churchill Downs trainer and jockey report. Tom Amos in dirt sprints, very successful trainer. And there's a big difference, though, depending on who the jockey is. He's had 8 go-to jockeys, 8 jockeys that he's used routinely since 2014 at Churchill Downs. His most successful combination was with Rosie Napravnik. Don't look for her these days. Her last races were in 2014, and he was very successful with her. because the reports do encompass data going back to 2014. Sometimes you're going to find a combination, a jockey who's retired on the list, but nevertheless, Tom Amoss had Rosie as one of his jockeys, had a high percentage and a profitable run with her in dirt sprints in 2014. The other jockeys that you see listed here are jockeys that he's using typically now. You can see with amongst these active riders, he's got Goncalves. Forgive me if my pronunciation is incorrect. At 42% with a 50% win place percentage. 12 starts, 5 wins, 1 second. These 8 jockeys who have run routinely for Amoss in dirt sprints at Churchill Downs, 267 starts, 70 wins, 34 second places. That's a hefty 26%. So that's a nice percentage of wins for any trainer at a track, and 39% win place. Now he's got other jockeys that he's not done nearly as well with. There's I've combined 12 jockeys that showed no win or place finishes for him, 26 starts and nothing. And then a list of 13 other jockeys. In total, we have all of the jockeys that he's used in dirt sprints at Churchill Downs. And you can see that this group, the 25 jockeys in total, have only hit at 7% for Amoss and 22% winner place. If I'm looking for a horse to bet on that Tom Amoss is training, I want to see one of these guys. And I want to take you to another example. And nationally famous trainer Chad Brown. And I want to show you his performance with his jockeys in turf routes at Churchill Downs. Now, he's got 3 jockeys that have been his go-to jockeys in turf routes at Churchill. You can see in the yellow and bold, which signifies both profitable and high win percentage and high win place percentage. Flavian Pratt, he's won most of the times that they've been together with 5 wins and 7 starts. And he's got a couple of others that he hits it better than 25% with Ira Ortiz and Tyler Gaffleone. And you can clearly see he's not done nearly so well with the other 15 jockeys he's used at Churchill and turf routes. He's got 7 jockeys that he has no results for. And then scattered in here, while he hits overall 8% with these jockeys, we've got Junior Alvarado that is 1 for 1 in this group. He's in this bottom section. That's the only race he's had. This is not has not been one of his go-tos. We'll see what things hold in the future. And I want to take you to another situation at Churchill Downs. This is Chris Hartman at Churchill Downs in dirt routes. Chris Hartman, while not as well known nationally as a Chad Brown or a Todd Pletcher or a Bill Mott, he's been around for a good long time. And it's been in the past 5 or 6 years, though, that he's become a serious force to deal with at the tracks that he runs at very typically, especially at Oaklawn and Churchill Downs. Those are 2 terrific tracks for him. Here he is at Churchill Downs. He's had 7 jockeys that have been go-to jockeys for him, and he's hit at 31% with 79 wins with this group. And he's got 37 other jockeys. He's used a lot of different jockeys in these dirt routes. And with 18 of them, he's got no results whatsoever. A jockey that he uses a lot at Oaklawn and is very successful with at Oaklawn does not hit very often with him. Francisco Arrieta has not done as well for Hartman at Churchill. That's one thing that's very important about these reports. They're track specific. They're specific to the surface, dirt or turf, or in some tracks, all weather, and the distance, a route or a sprint. Anyway, his total here, 31% with his top jockeys, 12% with the jockeys that he doesn't use as often, he's been less successful with. And now we've got a famous trainer, Steve Asmussen, nationally famous, the winningest trainer ever in North American horse racing. He has a lot of horses, has a lot of runners across the country, and he has a lot of wins. He doesn't hit with the great numbers. Takes a little bit more discernment as to whether or not he's going to win or lose. Here we show his top jockey, the jockey he uses most often at Churchill Downs, both in routes and sprints by far, is Ricardo Santana. And he is more successful in dirt sprints, regardless of the jockey. Hits at 23% with Ricardo Santana, and with his other 14 jockeys, he's hit at 19%. A little closer together than the examples we were looking at earlier. And in dirt routes, again, Santana is his rider most often, and he hits at 14% with Santana. His other 41 jockeys have combined for 36 wins and 273 starts, and they've hit at 13%. Not a huge difference. For me, the key with Steve Asmussen is he's not telegraphing, his winner by the jockey that he's putting on board, strictly speaking. He may very well, be very intent and believes he's got the winner for the day when he puts Santana on, but you're going to have to do more serious handicapping in order to come up with a good bet with Steve Asmussen. At least that's my view. And this sort of thing is revealed in the Trainer and Jockey Exacta Report. I want to take you from just the report itself to how you can use these numbers in real life handicapping, finding a good winner. Well, any winner is a good winner, but how you can find winners more regularly and at good odds by using the Jockey and Trainer Report. Want to give you a first example. This was my first bet at Keeneland this year. It was April 7th, and I was already looking for Wesley Ward because he's often the leading trainer in wins at Keeneland, especially in the spring. Spring is when he is particularly good because he hits very often in maiden special weight races for 2-year-olds, first-time starters, and they're the short sprints, the 4.5 furlong sprints. He's won about half of those races over the past 9 years. I mean, half of, not just half of his starters, but half of the total races that have been run. The problem is, it's a very tough play to make money with Wesley Ward in those races. Where he's not only highly successful, has a good win percentage overall. He's also profitable in turf sprints. I look for him in allowance turf sprints. That's what we've got on April 7th. And in this race, he actually had 2 entries in the race, in the yellow and in bold, because he's profitable and hits at a high percentage with Irad Ortiz. And this was the winner that day. $6.82, getting close to $7. May not get you too excited, but this is a heck of a good bet when you've got uh, uh, a trainer that's hitting almost 50% with the jockey, and he's in a race where most of the other trainers either have no record or poor records at the under the circumstances in turf sprints. In fact, the ones in red here that I have in red, these were trainer jockey combinations that actually had 0 starts together. And I wanted to show you here, this is what the trainer with all of his jockeys, not today's, because he hadn't done it before, what his record was overall. The second place finisher in this race, Ian Wilkes, with Saez, was only a 6% in all turf sprints at Keeneland. Timothy Ham, he was 0 for 1 coming into this race with any jockey. We've got Granite's with Graham that had never been together. Granite's was 1 for 6. One that concerned me was Brian Lynch with Kevin Krieger, but Kevin Krieger was not one of the jockeys he had used and won with before, but he was 26% with other jockeys. The problem with this particular one, as far as I was concerned, was, well, he had the high percentage, it was with somebody else. I was really looking at Wesley Ward with John Velasquez, Wesley Ward with Ortiz. He's good with both of them, but far better with Ortiz than he is with Velasquez at 19%. And the odds, the morning line odds had the Ward Velasquez as morning line favorite, and he went off at close to even money on that day. His other was 3-1 in the morning line odds, and he got bet a little bit down from that. But he was the horse to bet in this race, considering this is the one he's got the jockey that he wins most often with, and he didn't have serious competition when it comes to a trainer jockey standpoint. There were reasons to love betting against the rest of the field. Take you to another example, and that's at Fairgrounds on January 21st, turf stakes race at 1 1/16. Here we had Brett Calhoun with Gutierrez that hit at 44% coming into the year, into this race, and a win place percentage of 67%. They're profitable. This particular horse had won 3 out of its last 4 at Fairgrounds. It was running at third after a long break. He had been off for almost a year, and he won 2 back in his return to the races. Lost the race just before this one. That helped with the odds on this particular case. And I've only got one other horse in the race that I felt like I needed to take serious note of, and that was the Brad Cox with Giroux combination that was going to be bet getting close to even money in the race. He wasn't the morning line favorite, but he was close to it at 3-1. The morning line favorite was Robertson, who hits at only 13% overall in turf routes at fairgrounds. And then Brad Cox with Giroux, he hits at 34%, and that's a hefty percentage. But I've got 10-1 on a horse where the trainer and jockey have won many times together and very high percentage and at good odds. This was an easy bet to make, made much easier by when I looked at Price Talk. And he was a favorite because he had won a couple of races coming into this race that were stakes races, but they were at Remington Park and Mountaineer. One of those races was taken off the turf and run on the slop. One thing you know in those races, often you lose some of your top contenders. The horses were not, most intended for that condition. It was a pretty easy situation for them. Both of these wins were largely against local horses in minor stakes races at these minor tracks. There were a few that came from larger barns from across the country, but they weren't with horses that had been stakes winning horses. Price Talk just, to me, didn't even compare. Cox actually had another horse in this race with, still a lower percentage. Doesn't use Linares as often as he does Giroux, and with a lesser success. Just got a couple more examples I want to take you through. Got Oaklawn Park, January 6th. Here I've got another race where I've got same trainer, Diodoro, with different jockeys and different success rate. But in this case, this was a little tougher because he's got a 47% hit rate and 73% in the money with Santana in dirt sprints, and he still hits at 40%. That's nothing to sneeze at with Torres. Biggest difference for me in this race was one, the odds. The odds are very important. I want to, when I've got 47% and on a trainer and nobody else who really compares other than himself, Diodoro himself, with another jockey, but there was actually a difference in these two horses to help separate them even farther than what the odds were doing for me. I had checked on the owner at Equibase. I wanted to see what he had done in the past 5 years. Well, this owner, the On the Rise Again stable, coming into this race, they were 5 wins in 14 starts total in the past 5 years. Clearly, this barn this stable doesn't run very many entries. When they didn't win, they had a number of second places. All of these horses from this barn certainly seem to be well-meant horses. The owner on the other, Charles Garvey, in the last couple of years at Oaklawn, he had 1 win and 8 starts. Okay, I've got separation in odds. I've got separation from how well the different owners had done. Same trainer, but like I say, the owners didn't. A couple of others to consider in the race. One is Villafranco with Castillo. Certainly took note of the 25%. It's with only the 2 wins, so didn't take it. It's not anything as strong as particularly when you get up to 4 but had to consider him. Took a look, and the trainer was winless in his last 14 races. Not all with Castillo, but nevertheless, he had been winless in his last 14. He was uh, cold. This was early in the meet, and he'd only been on the board 3 times. And John Alexander Ortiz, who's pretty well known, and Cabrera is a good jockey. He's 22%, and he was the favorite in this race, as well as being the morning line favorite. But the trainer was only 1 for 17 in the current meet prior to this race. Between the 22% here and the 47% here, just didn't have a problem in betting against this particular runner. And as you can see, he didn't do very well in that race. So, one last one, take you to a small track in Ohio. Mahoning Valley, this is March 21st. And we have a Larry Smith trained horse. Doesn't have, I'd love it if he had 4 wins, but here, 11 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, pretty decent. And in this race, there's very little competition compared to that. The trainer and jockey combination, I looked back at the specifics and I saw them that 2 out of their 3 wins were at long odds. One was a $14 winner, one was a $34 winner, and I think the other winner was something on the order of a $7 winner. They're 3 wins together. And the next best trainer jockey combination was DaCosta and Diaz, 8-1 in the morning line, went off at 7-5. They hit it 21% together and 38%. But this trainer had no wins in maiden races, at 0 for 9, and he had no recent wins. Jonathan Wong's horse was the one that was getting bet down heavily in this race. Went off as a favorite at 1.7-1, about 2-1. And he had not had this jockey, Barberin, as one of his jockeys before at Mahoning Valley. Wong is new to the track, relatively new. Coming into this race, he had one win in 6 starts at Mahoning Valley in sprints. Today's horse, this was a maiden special race. This horse had already lost twice in maiden claiming races, with his most recent finish being 8th place. Wong has been very successful across the country, at Golden Gate and in the Southwest at Turfway Park. High percentages. He for the bettors there, I think he was looked like a pretty big fish, and was getting much more heavily bet than the horse really merited. Had another one with the morning line favorite at 3-1. That was Eric Reed, who the Kentucky Derby winning trainer, but he had 0 starts with this particular jockey. That was a combination that we hadn't seen before in dirt sprints at Mahoning. He was a first-time starter. He was dead on the odds board. He wasn't getting bet, which is a bad thing for first-time starters that are supposed to be the favorites in the race too. And I looked into Eric Reed's first-time starters. Overall, I didn't have his debut or first time starter statistics with me. I went to the Equibase site, just looked up uh, his maiden special weight runners in the most recent 15 that I could find that were first time starters, had all lost. I didn't have a problem betting against this particular morning line favorite. So there you have it. Those are uh, just some samples of what I think you can do when you're looking at making win bets. I'm primarily a win better. Haven't done a very good job on telling you how you might use these in exotics or exactas. Uh, One thing I would say is if you're looking for serial bets, pick threes, pick fours, uh, you'll serve yourself well, not only by looking at ones that are highlighted in yellow that have been profitable as well as winning situations. But if you look for high percentages in those races, uh, any trainer jockey combination, you want to take a strong look at including those in your serial bets. Uh, in this particular uh, race, if I were using it in a pick three, uh, I might have given more consideration to the DaCosta runner, although I would still be having a rough time with the problem that the trainers had with maiden races and the fact that he was cold. But just wanted to at least throw out one portion of the discussion to how to use this in something other than straight pool wagering. Well, good luck to you all, and let them roll at the quarter pole.